Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Interverse of Business and Life podcast. I'm Barb Patterson, and I'm really glad you're here today. I want to talk about a conversation I had about 12 plus years ago now that opened something up inside of me and a way in which I was able to move in my business and life in a fresh perspective. So it's a truth that continues to show me more and more and reveal more and more to me over the years. And one that I find really valuable when I return to it and remind myself of it over and over again. And that is, we are not the wind. We don't create the wind, but we can catch it. So I want you to imagine for a moment that you're standing on the back of a sailboat and you're trying to move it by blowing. You're blowing harder and harder, and you're doing everything you can. You're using all your will to try and move the boat. Over time, you start sweating, you're exhausted. The boat wobbles a bit. It might even move a tiny bit, but it doesn't really ever get traction or momentum. So you do research on breath work and how to stay consistent and be more disciplined. Still, nothing glides, and you're tired and discouraged. You look around and you see all these other boats, and they seem to know something you don't. They seem to be sailing with ease, really smooth, effortlessly. And you're wondering, what do they know that you don't? That boat is a metaphor for my business, for my life. That person on the back of the boat is me. For so long, I thought I needed to push hard, strategize better, figure things out, push more, override anything going on in my body and mind just to keep going. That discipline and consistency and grit were the way. I really did see myself as the wind. That traction and momentum was completely up to me, and it required that I hustle harder, push harder. And when things weren't moving, it meant that I was looking to myself to see what was wrong. What was I doing wrong? What did I need to go learn or figure out so that I could have more success? Well, what if that's a misunderstanding and it's not how it works? What if momentum, flow, and success is found somewhere else? What if instead of trying to be the wind, we got in the boat, we listened, we tuned in, we adjusted our sails, and we caught the wind? Where in our life, where in your life are you trying to force movement or trying to push, and yet you're feeling like nothing's really happening? Well, what I've come to discover is that's a red flag. It's not an invitation to work harder. It's actually an opportunity for me to pause and to listen more deeply. Now, it requires a willingness in me to let go, to slow down, and to let go of all the thinking I have about what that will cost me and what's at stake, but to really just drop in and listen and feel for where is the natural wind? Where is the momentum? Now, the metaphor of the wind in the sailboat is really what I'm calling our deeper nature, that creative intelligence, the natural kind of flow and momentum of life and projects and business. So often we don't really appreciate that there's a distinction between the momentum of my mind and the natural momentum of creativity or projects or business or unfolding, and things have ebb and flow. But also, often in those moments when I've learned to stop and listen and tune in, I can see, oh, if I would just adjust the sails a little bit, I could capture that wind. I could figure out where to go. For instance, I was speaking to a client recently and who was feeling really stuck in his business. And we started talking about this idea. And I love what he brought up. And what he said was, oh, that's like surfing. He said, I love to surf, but I don't make the wave. I never think I make the wave. He said, I wait for the wave, I catch it, and then I ride it. And I thought, that's it. That's it exactly. We don't make the wave, we catch it. So there's an opportunity here for us to discover what are those hidden forces, those invisible opportunities for us that might be whispering that if we can just nudge in a little bit of a different direction, we would discover maybe something even better than what we imagined. Recently, I was launching a training program, and it's something I'd done in the past, and it worked really well. And I just assumed it would do the same. And when it wasn't working, I would spent a ton of time redoing the sales page, rethinking the format, playing with the structure, trying to do everything to figure out what is going on. And again, that's the analogy of thinking the issue was me or I didn't have something right. So I was spending all this energy. And after a few weeks, I realized, wow, I have spent an immense amount of time, like actual time, redoing things and nothing's working. And it was in that moment, I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe it would be good to listen. And when I listened, I realized in pretty short order that there was something else really interesting that I'd been dreaming about playing with. But in my logical mind, I decided that the time wasn't now, or I should do that later in the year, whatever it might be. But once, though, I thought, all right, I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to listen to what's alive, listen to where the natural momentum and inspiration and ideas are. I started to create. And in a day, I put this program together, the structure. It was very clear to me. I was super excited about it. And then I started to share it. And what was fascinating was instantly, almost instantly, I got a different kind of response. Now, I'm not saying it filled up magically. No, it's something new, but I could feel inside myself the difference between when I was trying to force something because it was a good idea. It worked in the past. It makes sense. I have a lot to share there. When I kept trying to use my logical mind and my will to kind of figure it out, nothing was happening. But when I got open and I moved in this direction, there was something else available to me. And I launched that program and it's been amazing. And I'm so grateful for it. So that idea that we stay open, that we pause and listen can be really beneficial for us. Often what will happen is you'll feel a sense of ease. Your shoulders may even relax. There's a quality of a quiet knowing. I'll give you another example in case it's helpful. Last summer, I came home to St. Louis to support taking care of my mom after she fell. Now, she's great, so that's the good news. And after a few months, I thought I was going to move back to Asheville. So I started looking for places, and I was kind of trying to meet this particular deadline and I wanted to get back. And so I was looking. And then one morning I felt it. I could feel the force I was bringing to it. It wasn't ease. It was this kind of quality of push and force. And that again was my red flag. So I paused and I thought, let me listen. And all I could hear in that deeper knowing within was, not now. Not yet. So I just relaxed. And that thought, while it didn't make sense to me logically, and my logical mind wanted to know why and what it meant, my inner knowing relaxed and the tension released, and my shoulders literally kind of dropped. I just knew, okay, not yet. And then that allowed me to adjust. So that knowing, that gauge we have within, our ability to feel when we're trying to drive it, push it, force something versus allowing it is really valuable to us. Now, I just want to say one caveat. It doesn't mean that things aren't ever hard or, we see our insecurity for what it is, we keep going, or sometimes, we have moments when the workload is more than others. But there's a knowing inside that we're still on track or we're still in the flow of something versus when it starts to feel like we're at odds. It's at those moments that we can take a pause and listen and see what might be needed. And that is not like a one time, as you've heard in my examples, one and done. It's a daily practice of listening and remembering and being willing right? From inside the boat to pay attention to where the wind is. We can still be aiming for a particular destination, but we adjust. We adjust based on that deeper wisdom guiding us. Now, when I first started leaning into this, I realized that I had spent an immense amount of time learning about how to grow my business, how to bring my best self to my clients and different ways and to help my client. I had spent hours strategizing, learning, and I love it. And I continue to love that path. But I started to see, wow, a lot of that came from push. And if I could rate it, I'd say I spent 99% of my time in that versus really getting a personal felt relationship to that deeper knowing, that deeper instinct, to those flow states. See, even when I would appreciate flow states and creativity, I still was bringing a lot of ideas to that versus just letting life unfold, listening for what life wants to show me, listening for other ideas and other creativity, and really broadening my perspective of what's possible and not letting just all my particular wants and preferences be the only reference point. Often when we listen and open our minds and we relax, our minds naturally expand. And from that place, we see more. We see more options, more possibilities. We tap into that deeper signal, into that creativity, and new and fresh opportunities emerge. But coming back to the topic for today, in addition to that, we feel a sense of alignment, inner alignment. And we experience more that we're riding the waves versus being pushed around or trying to create the wave. We realize that we can be carried by something, by the power of the wind, that we can let what's alive within us, let that creativity unfold and point us, let life show us what's available. It's a dance, and just as similar in sailing, it's a dance of catching the wind and staying open to the adjustments along the way. It's responsive, and I would say it's energy and effort aligned with something greater than just my thinking or our will or our discipline. So here's my invitation to you today: to pause, look around, feel into life or your business like you would the weather or the sea. Where is the natural momentum right now? What is life offering you that might be for you? For instance, me being in St. Louis was not on the radar, was not a part of the plan. And now being here almost a year, it's turned into such a gift in so many surprising ways. Moving into that new idea in my business has opened up a whole new level of connection and depth and interest and new ideas for me. I'm loving, and new collaboration. So can we be open to the potential new, to what life may be showing us, to letting go of the plan or push and the drive a little bit, ease up and see where is the wind, where is the natural momentum? And perhaps for you, it's saying, slow down. It might be even saying rest. Well, can you trust that? Can you listen and see what unfolds from that place? I promise, having a relationship to the wisdom within, to the signals within, other than just our logical mind, opens up our lives. It opens up our businesses and the way we can have impact. So as always, thank you for being here. I look forward to hearing any of your reflections. As always, if you know anyone that would benefit from this episode, please share it. Thank you. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean a lot to us if you could take a moment to first subscribe and follow wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Hitting the follow button means you'll never miss a show. All you have to do is hit the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner or click on follow. While you're there, if you like what you're hearing, we'd appreciate you taking a moment to give us a shout out and review. Most importantly, however, If you know anyone that would benefit from this episode, please pass it along. And finally, if you'd like to learn more about my work, Interverse Academy, or upcoming events, you can check out my website at barbarapatterson.com. You'll find some great resources, classes, and videos, and a lot more. Thank you again for being here. See you next time.